Alright, part 2 of the uh, breeding for beginners tutorial from pt2. I was saying that you don't ever want to use glass if you can avoid it, and even if you have a glass tank, go ahead and get yourself a 5-gallon bucket. You can use a larger, that's a 20-gallon round Rubbermaid bucket, but the 5-gallon buckets are the best. And these are plastic. These are way better than glass, but they're not round, but at least they have rounded corners, unlike the glass tanks. But the round 5-gallon buckets, as you can see here, by having this in the middle, no matter where the male goes inside the tank, he has to see the female. No matter how much he swims, how fast, how long, or what direction, he's forced to see the female. The female is also forced to see the male no matter what. And then that is what forces them to ripen the fastest. Not only that, but being in the 5-gallon plastic with the high sides and the plastic walls, they have no distractions. They can't spend any of their minutes or hours out of the day looking out into the room or elsewhere. They're forced to completely focus on each other. There's nothing else they can focus on or look at or think about or pay attention to except their mate and their nest. So that's one reason. Number two, you know what I should have done? I should have put a thermometer in these to show you. Let me do that. But the number two reason is because, let me show you. Alright, here's a plastic one, we'll drop one in there. Here's a glass one, we'll drop one in there. Okay, you can do an experiment yourself and prove this at home, but the warmer the temperature, the better for your fry. And any temperature fluctuations up or down that take place rapidly will either kill your fry or stunt their growth or alter their development and basically ruin their health. So I want you to try it. You can try an experiment at home yourself if you don't believe me, but one of the reasons that, other than the other ones I just told you, that you want to breed in plastic is because if you fill a plastic bucket like this with water and a glass tank like this with water and keep them both in the same room at the same temperature of room, the water inside the plastic will be infinitely warmer. And when you come and you touch the plastic with your hand, it's warm. You touch the glass with your hand, it's cold. It'll always be that way. The water in the glass will always be colder than the water in the bucket or in the plastic. And let's say 3 gallons. 3 gallons of water inside just a 10-gallon rectangle tank. That's if your tank isn't bigger than 10, but just in a 10-gallon tank, 3 gallons of water is not very much depth. It's about that far. It's just a couple of inches. 3 gallons of water in a 5-gallon bucket is a much higher volume. And as soon as your fry are hatched, it's the volume and the depth that makes them grow the fastest and develop the fastest and the strongest and the healthiest, and you'll have an infinitely higher survival rate by breeding in a 5-gallon bucket than you do in a 10-gallon rectangle tank. Not only that, but the surface area of the water, the surface area that is exposed to the air, the surface of the water being exposed to the air causes evaporation. The evaporation causes the cooling of the temperature of the water. So there's infinitely more, like 400% more surface volume of the water exposed to the air in a rectangular tank than there is to a circular tank. So aside from the insulation of the plastic or the Rubbermaid as opposed to the glass, it's the surface being exposed to the air that's a very, very bad thing. Not only that, but again, in the round bucket, your fry are forced to swim in perpetual motion. So no matter which direction they want to swim in or what they try to do, they're forced to always swim. They've got to always swim around and around and around. Anytime they start to swim, they've got to go around because of the curvature of the bucket forces them to continually swim around and around. In a tank, they end up stuck in the corners. they run over to these corners, they can't go anywhere, and they end up stuck there. Not to mention themselves that if they get spooked or one of them startles the other one, they run into the corners and they'll actually damage themselves because they're so delicate when they're small. At this point, I'm going to point out one other very important tip, and that is to never ever net your fry. You never want to net fry. They're far too delicate. Even if they live and you think they're okay, they're not. You damage slime coat, you damage some development of finnage or something, but nothing good can come of ever netting a fry. You do not ever want to net a fry. What you want to do is you want to take something like this, or if your container can't fit it, you know, you got to use something else, but you take a container and you slowly and steadily just lower it, and it'll fill up with water, and your fry will go with the water. And then when you go to put them into the next one, you put it all the way down in there, and you can gently pour it out into there. That's how you transfer fry. Okay, I'm going to show you how to transfer a nest in case you need to transfer a nest. Like you have a spawn that happened in a glass tank and you need to transfer it to a 5-gallon plastic bucket so that your fry have an infinitely higher chance of survival, right? So it's basically the same thing. You want to take one of these containers, something like this, or even a bowl. You could, yeah, let me show you with a bowl so you can get a better view. I've got a bowl down here somewhere. Hang on. Where are they? Oh, there you go. Okay. So just take a regular, you know, bowl from your mom's kitchen or your kitchen or whatever, and what you want to do is you want to lower this very slowly down into the water, okay? And if you do this right and you do it slow enough and gentle enough, not one single egg will ever fall out of your nest. I've tried to help and give advice to a lot of kids before, and they were beginners and they were so antsy and paranoid that they didn't want to move them from their glass tank into plastic, and guess what, not one single one of their fries survived because they kept them in a glass tank. And you know, beginners already have the deck stacked against them enough as it is. So what you want to do is just slowly and gently lower it into the water, just like that. Bang. That bubble nest is full of bubbles right now, and not one bubble has been lost. And if there's eggs in it, not one egg will be dropped. Then you just lower it down in there and back your bowl out, and not one single egg will fall out. So if you've got your bubble nest inside glass, you can transfer it that way easily into a plastic 5-gallon bucket or a Rubbermaid tank, and not even one single egg will fall out of there. And what else should I tell you real quick? Let's see. I guess I better stop this while I'm brain farting. I'm almost out of time here. I've only got 9 minutes anyway. So come back for part 3. I'll give you more tips.